Rhyne Howard psyched Caitlin Clark out.
Rhyne Howard, Caitlin Clark, jawing back forth. Rhyne Howard having a horrific start.
This is Caitlin Clark's true rivalry.
A lot of people didn't want to give her the credit that she deserved. When a player is great in his rookie year, he's great.
Caitlin Clark made every single player around her more dangerous today.
And shot clock. There's a lot of bumping and chippiness at half court between Rhyne Howard and Caitlin Clark.
And last game.
This is a basketball play.
She didn't back down. She didn't flinch. And in that moment, when tempers exploded and the court turned into a battlefield, Caitlin Clark didn't just take the hit, she owned the moment.
Clark in that moment saying, I'm not scared of you. I'm not afraid. Then giving her a sarcastic thumbs up.
2 minutes ago, the air inside the arena could have been sliced with a knife. The crowd wasn't watching basketball anymore. They were watching war. A silent standoff had boiled into chaos as Rhyne Howard, known for her gritty two-way dominance, crossed the line from competitor to aggressor.
Caitlin Clark and Rhyne Howard get into it here. He was fouling Caitlin Clark the whole game. Caitlin Clark coming back to Rhyne Howard. I'm not scared of you.
The camera barely caught it, but the fans felt it. The bump, the stare, the shove, the venom in the words exchanged. It was personal now. This wasn't just physical play. This was an ambush, and Caitlin Clark was the target.
Watching Caitlin, teams are overly aggressive, right? Caitlin Clark plays at her own pace. So while you want to be aggressive, guess what she's going to do? She's going to use that against you.
They wanted her to break. They expected her to fold under the weight of expectation, under the bruises left behind by every screen, every foul not called, every disrespectful hand check.
I think they obviously are taking winning and capitalizing off of this Caitlin Clark moment they have going.
But instead of retaliating with fists or fouls, she retaliated with something more dangerous. Calm. With a smirk, a sarcastic thumbs up, and ice in her veins, Caitlin delivered her answer. I'm not scared of you. And she meant every word. No panic, no pleading. Just cold, unshakable resolve.
Rhyne Howard says something towards somebody. Caitlin's response, thumbs up.
Type C 100 if you're a real Caitlin Clark fan. What happened next didn't make the highlight reel, but it should have. Because as Howard unleashed her fury, Clark stayed locked in. Even as the officials turned a blind eye and the dream doubled down on aggression, Clark engineered the comeback. She didn't need to score 30, she needed to win. And she did. This wasn't just a game. This was a message. A line was crossed. Caitlin Clark didn't just survive it, she defined it.
Caitlin Clark has that exact ability. She can go get you a 2010, a 2015 game, maybe even a 30-15 game, because she has that ability. She can handle the ball. She's tremendous off the dribble. Like you said, she can get downhill.
Let's take you inside the moment everything changed. It started with pressure. Not just the pressure of a close game, but the kind that builds when pride is on the line. From the opening tip, Rhyne Howard didn't come to play. She came to dominate.
And in the second half, I have to say, Rhyne Howard killed it in the second half. Hit some huge shots. Rhyne Howard was 4 for 8 in the second half. But look, Rhyne Howard's one of those players, like we all know, I picked her for MVP and Unrivaled. When Rhyne Howard is on, she's one of the best players in the league.
And her plan was clear. Get inside Caitlin Clark's head, rattle her rhythm, break her spirit. Hand checks to the hip, elbows in the lane, body-to-body defense that blurred the line between contact and assault.
We got the hand checking going on the hip. This isn't the 80s. What are we doing? Hold on, man. She's hand checking right here. Then Caitlin trying to get by, right? But her hand's still there.
It was physical. It was dirty. And it was relentless. Every time Clark moved, Howard was there, gripping, bumping, daring her to react. It wasn't basketball. It was psychological warfare. Rhyne Howard didn't just want to win. She wanted to humiliate the rookie phenom.
I was shocked that fans were shocked, so-called fans, with the physicality of the WNBA. You clearly haven't watched the WNBA. They are physical. And all of a sudden, it's Caitlin Clark's getting roughed up. It felt like they were zeroing in on our little Caitlin Clark, and she's getting roughed up. Was she? Yes. But that's the physicality of this.
She wanted the world to see Clark fold. But Clark didn't bite. She played on until the shove. Midway through the second quarter, After another sequence of hand-checking and chest pressure, Clark had had enough. She tried to slip by, Howard's hands still lingering on her body. So Clark did what any fighter would do. She brushed her off.
What's a lesbian look like? Angry. You got the angry African-American lesbian who just can't handle somebody coming into their league as a white girl with a bunch of...
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in.
A warning, not an act of aggression, but to Howard it was a declaration. She snapped, thrust her body forward, delivered a deliberate shove that drew gas from the arena. Cameras caught it. Fans froze. Commentators stumbled to explain it, but Clark didn't move.
Rhyne Howard doesn't like that. And there's some words between the two players as Naz Hillman quickly comes over and gets her bestie out of the scuffle.
She stood her ground, stared Howard down, and hit her with a sarcastic thumbs up that said everything words couldn't. "You're not shaking me." Lip readers had a field day. The phrase repeated like a battle cry across social media.
Tell her ain't nobody scared of you. Someone tell that B. Rhyne Howard to shut up and play. Oh man, she ain't have to be a B, did she? That's my dog. They try to punk her every game. She is tired of it. Where do they find these thugs? The moment the refs decided to wake the F up.
"I'm not scared of you." Over and over she said it. Calm, controlled, ice cold. Howard pushed. Clark pushed back. Not with fists, but with presence. And the crowd, they erupted. Because in that moment, they didn't see a rookie. They saw a leader.
She's a wonderful player. She brought a lot of eyeballs. And because of that, she brought a lot of opinions. It's almost be careful what you ask for.
Still, Howard kept pressing. She played Clark like it was 1993, when hand-checking was legal and flagrant contact was applauded. The refs swallowed their whistles, letting the game turn into a street fight. Clark, meanwhile, took hit after hit, jawed back, and never lost her balance. Not once. She could have retaliated. She could have flopped. She could have lost her cool. But she didn't. Instead, she gave Howard the one thing she didn't expect: respectful defiance.
"I'm not scared of you." With that, and that's competing. That's good basketball. That's fine. Howard wanted the challenge. I loved it.
And that made Howard furious. From that moment on, this wasn't just about basketball. It was about ego. Every possession turned into a clash. Clark brought the ball up like a quarterback scanning for pressure, while Howard played her like a shutdown corner. Trash talk echoed on the floor.
This is by far Caitlin Clark's worst game of her WNBA career because Rhyne Howard kind of psyched her out early in the game. I mean, she was applying major pressure on Caitlin Clark, talking trash to her, completely threw her off her game, bro.
Words were exchanged with fire behind every syllable. It didn't matter that they had once played together on national teams, that they shared mutual respect off the court. This night, this rivalry had spilled into something real. Something bigger.
Caitlin Clark and Rhyne Howard have played on national teams together. Caitlin Clark and Rhyne Howard played against each other in college. Caitlin Clark, I'm pretty sure there was a game where Caitlin Clark in the first half scored more points than Rhyne Howard's team.
ESPN didn't script this. The league didn't promote it. But fans knew what they were witnessing. A real-time rivalry being born, not out of hate, but out of competitive fire and pride. A rivalry forged not in words, but in war. And Clark? She was still standing, bloodied, battered, but undefeated.
I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despise. She's cocky for a good reason.
Confident.
The fact that it is so prevalent in mainstream highlights that we're talking about it here shows the growth of the sport, shows the power of Caitlin Clark, shows you how many more people are paying attention to it.
As the dust settled from the shove and the noise echoed around the arena, most players would have unraveled. Caitlin Clark did the opposite. She dialed in. That's what separates stars from legends. She didn't need to retaliate with the scoreboard screaming, the cameras flashing, and Rhyne Howard breathing down her neck. Instead, she responded with surgical calm, slicing through pressure like a blade through silk.
Caitlin Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done, but we should have been giving her the credit. We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it? That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is box office. She's doing this.
Statistically, it was one of Clark's roughest nights. No threes. Her shot was off. Rhythm disrupted by the early foul trouble and suffocating defense. But that's not the story. The real story was how, even in the chaos, she transformed from scorer to orchestrator. They targeted her. They tried to wear her down. And so she adapted. She didn't chase the highlight. She engineered the win. Late in the game, when everything tightened and Howard's energy started to flicker, it was Clark who had the ball in her hands. Everyone knew the shot wasn't falling, but that didn't matter. She scanned the floor, manipulated the defense like a chess grandmaster, drew a second defender, and delivered a perfect pass to Aaliyah Boston for the go-ahead bucket. That's not just basketball IQ. That's vision under fire. That's leadership with the game on the line.
She's got the basketball, manipulates the defense, gets it to AB, who puts it away. That's toughness on display. Fighting through it. It ain't always going to go your way.
And you could see it, the shift. Howard had been barking all game, flexing, shoving, bumping. But when Clark made that pass and the crowd erupted, Howard didn't say a word. The noise stopped. Her aggression didn't work. Her game plan cracked. Clark didn't need to score 25. She just needed to make the right play. And she did. Over and over again. You want power? This is power. It's staring your rival in the face while everyone expects you to explode and choosing to elevate your teammates instead. It's taking every hit and still being the calmest person on the floor. It's knowing they're trying to break you and giving them nothing but class and control in return.
She's an incredibly hard worker. She's a high IQ player. She's a perfectionist. Like, she wants to get better. She lives in the gym. And so you knew that growth was going to take place, and having the opportunity to watch her on a daily basis and how she approaches the work. Like, there are work ethics and there are work styles, right? And a work style of not wasting reps, of not wasting time, of being very intentional about a growth process.
The body language told the story. Every time Howard tried to bait her into a reaction, Clark gave her nothing but blank stares and slight smirks. She didn't flinch. She didn't engage. She just kept moving, kept passing, kept leading. When she gave that sarcastic thumbs up after halftime, right in Howard's direction, it wasn't petty. It was psychological warfare. And it worked. There's a reason Clark is being face-guarded every single possession. There's a reason defenders are swarming her like she's public enemy number one.
There's Howard, and here's Clark with the little sarcastic, all right, go ahead. Yeah, good for you. That's good stuff. And that's, Cece's a competitor. She's a tough cookie. So I always said she don't need nobody to protect her. She just needs the game officiated right. And the Fever could benefit from that.
She changes the gravity of the game just by stepping onto the court. And even when she's not scoring, she's dictating the pace, pulling defenders out of position and creating chaos without saying a word.
I think one of the things I love about Caitlin the most, do the thing that she knows everyone wants her.
That's not just toughness. That's dominance in disguise. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't loud. But it was loud enough for Howard to hear it. The game slipped away, and Clark didn't have to scream. She let the scoreboard speak, and when that buzzer rang, the message was clear. The stronger voice is the one that doesn't need to yell. Caitlin Clark didn't win with numbers. She won with nerve. By the time the final minutes ticked away, the narrative had flipped. What started as a potential domination by Rhyne Howard became a cautionary tale. Be careful who you try to bully, because Clark, she absorbed every hit, every insult, every missed call, and turned it into fuel.
Caitlin Clark is becoming the best player in the entire WNBA, not because she's white because she's that good.
I think Caitlin Clark does maybe better than anybody in sports right now and makes it about others, makes it about team. Think about it. When's the last time you didn't see Caitlin Clark talking about a teammate? When's the last time you saw Caitlin Clark talking about herself or any of the accomplishments that she has had? Let me give you the answer to that. Never!
The best player in America, the best shooter in America. Watch her play. She plays at a high level.
She's going to break records nonstop for the next couple years.
She's the only one capable of taking nothing and making it something.
What Rhyne tried to use to break her ended up becoming the very thing that defined Clark's rise in that game. Not as a scorer, but as a force of control, a silent conductor in a storm of chaos. And make no mistake, Rhyne Howard was cooking. Her shot was falling, her defense was fierce, and on the surface, she looked like she was owning the moment. But here's the truth they won't tell you in the box score. She lost the one battle that mattered, the one that decides legacies, the war of impact. Because when the game reached its peak, when every possession started to feel like life or death, it wasn't Rhyne Howard pulling strings or calming her squad. It was Caitlin Clark.
She breaks, she fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is, Caitlin Clark is box office.
Howard let her emotions dictate the tempo. She was loud, aggressive, and confrontational. And while that rattled the first half, it unraveled her in the second. She began chasing moments. She forced shots. She fell into the trap of trying to humiliate instead of execute. Meanwhile, Clark, cold, calculating, and calm, was always 2 moves ahead. That's not just winning the game. That's owning the moment. And here's the twist of fate that stings. In trying to silence Clark, Howard ended up amplifying her. Every shove, every word, every extra jab became a spotlight. It exposed how Clark thrives in adversity. While Howard was trying to play mind games, Clark was playing chess, silent assassin mode. Her revenge wasn't a dunk or a stare down. It was slipping a no-look dime through traffic to seal the game, while Howard stood frozen, watching. It was humbling. You could see it. Howard's fire started to fade. The talking stopped. The antics vanished. She wasn't laughing anymore. There was nothing left to say when the scoreboard became the loudest voice in the room. And it didn't stop there. Clark didn't just help win that game. She flipped the entire energy of the season. The Fever are no longer the team that gets pushed around. That ends now. With every hard foul and no whistle, they got stronger. With every misstep from the refs, they got grittier. And with Clark standing in the eye of the storm, they found their identity. Tough, composed, relentless.
To speak to her, to be around her, she's got charisma, she's got style, she's got bravado, she's got class, she's smart as hell. Communicates her thoughts very, very well. She is so incredibly marketable. I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate.
This wasn't about stats. This was about impact. The subtle kind. The kind that doesn't trend on Twitter but wins championships. Clark turned the noise into clarity. She redirected the chaos into rhythm. And when the dust settled, she didn't have to scream. She just walked away with the win. The silence from Rhyne Howard after the buzzer, that was respect, the humbled kind. Because in the end, Clark didn't retaliate with violence. She retaliated with value, proving once again that strength isn't just about muscle or volume. It's about the ability to take a hit, smile, and still execute. And when it came time to decide who had the power that night, the answer was no longer in doubt. Caitlin Clark owns that rivalry now. And she didn't need to raise her voice to do it. The game was over. The scoreboard was final. But the message, that was just beginning to echo. In a night where Caitlin Clark was hunted, targeted, pushed and tested in every possible way, she emerged not just victorious, she emerged elevated. This wasn't a regular season W. This was a statement, a transformation. The moment where Caitlin Clark stopped being a target and started becoming a problem for everyone who thought she'd fold.
Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA. First WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. First triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history. First triple-double in Fever history. The first player to be named WNBA Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month. First player in WNBA history with 20 or more points, 15 or more assists, and 5 or more rebounds in a game. She won Rookie of the Month 4 times, Eastern Conference Player of the Week 3 times, single season rookie record for assists, single season rookie record for 3-pointers, single game record for assists. 9.
As the players walked off the court, the arena still buzzed. Not from the win, but from what they just witnessed. Rhyne Howard had come out swinging. She played with fury, force, and fire. And for a moment, it looked like she had Clark cornered. But corners are for the weak. And Caitlin Clark doesn't do corners. She stood tall in the fire and let the storm rage around her, untouched, unfazed, and undefeated. This game will be remembered. Not because of a stat sheet or a buzzer beater, but because of the raw intensity that crackled from start to finish. It wasn't clean. It wasn't pretty. It was real. A real rivalry. A real test of grit. And Clark passed it with flying colors, not because she outscored Howard, but because she outlasted her, outplayed her when it mattered most, and outclassed her in every moment that called for control. The silence from Rhyne after that final buzzer, that wasn't just defeat. That was realization. That was what it looks like when someone throws everything they have and still can't shake you. That was what it looks like when a star tries to rattle a rookie and the rookie ends up rewriting the narrative. That was what it looks like when a league finally sees the truth. Caitlin Clark isn't just a name. She's a force. So yeah, 2 minutes ago, Rhyne Howard tried to rattle Caitlin Clark, but she didn't rattle. She rose. This isn't just the start of a rivalry. It's the rise of a reign. And everyone watching, they know exactly who's holding the crown now. Caitlin Clark is powerful, and the league better get used to it.